for Janae on this. What should be done to lower the cost of technical education in South Dakota?
Well, this is a great question. One of the things in South Dakota that we can all really be proud of is our technical education schools and things like that. And it is still a cheaper option than our four-year schools, but I think as a state, we do have to invest in those tech schools and make sure we're prioritizing some of that money because, it saves us a lot more than higher education. It offers students a diverse issue. And so I think that's something that we can focus on and just reprioritize that money for our tech schools.
Well, I think Drew's actually hit on it several times today, and we need to just spend our tax dollars more wisely. His example of our Secretary of State wanting to deduct her $75,000 that she doesn't need, that the state went ahead and gave her anyway. But keep in mind, that's a Republican-run state that's doing that. We need a little balance in the legislature. Thank you.
Well, me and my wife both graduated from Lake Area Tech. It was a great school. I really enjoyed my time there. The interesting thing is that both me and my wife had all of our college loans paid off long before any of our friends going to four-year college did. We were able to get right into the workforce, get good jobs, and make some pretty good money. I don't know that we need to focus on the expensive tech schools. I think your colleges are out of line on what they're charging today to get a four-year degree. If I was going to look at where can we cut costs, I think that I would go with the colleges before I would look into our technical schools. Thank you.
I do believe the technical schools provide a very important aspect to the educational opportunities in South Dakota, or in any state for that matter, because of all the technology that's advancing at a very high rate. I do believe that technical schools with their two-year program as opposed to the four-year program, that's one of the big savings that is realized. But I do believe we do need both forms of education, both liberal arts courses and technical schools in the state. Thank you.
I think tech school is a great option for people looking to go into the work field, especially just with a two-year degree. It's a lot more reasonable, but yeah, the costs are still there. And going back, it might sound a little bit repetitive, but there is wasteful spending in government, and we could redirect some of that money toward reducing the cost in tech schools. And then one thing I want to mention that hasn't been said yet is everyone here that casts a vote will have an opportunity to fund tech schools with the tobacco tax. I believe that's Measure 25 on the ballot this year. So that's really something that the people are going to have an opportunity to do this November. That's just an opportunity for everyone there. If the people don't end up passing that measure, the legislature, I'm sure, will look into ways to fund tech schools and reduce the tuition costs there.
I believe we need to try to do a better job at funding tech schools as well as four-year universities. I don't have the answers as to where that money is going to come from, but I just don't really believe that there's that much cost savings from wasteful government spending that we can use that money to simultaneously increase K-12 teacher pay and use that money to pay for this and use that money to pay for that. It's just not feasible. As far as the issue of IM25 goes, it's a great attempt to try to fund tech school. The only problem with using tobacco tax as a form of revenue generation to pay for that tech education is a lot of people are quitting smoking. A lot of people are using less tobacco today, and as people become better educated on the risks of using tobacco, that money's gonna dwindle down. That, and there's no guarantee that money's gonna be used for tech school because the revenue's supposed to go into the slush fund. So I really think we need to figure out a better and more permanent way to pay for tech school and four-year universities that isn't necessarily linked to tobacco. So thank you.
I think we need to eventually look at the hardship of students and student loans, and also the spending wisely of the dollars that we have. And the vocational schools, I think, are really, really important. There's been a lot of focus, of course, on the liberal arts colleges and that sort of education, when we really need those individuals they're a vital part of our working community, and to encourage them more than I've seen in the past. But yes, again, we need to support them, and again, with the dollars spent wisely.
When it comes to technical schools, I think it's very important for us to fund those or to help in some way. I like the idea of the Measure 25 with the tobacco tax going to that. And it's a shorter time for students to be able to get out into the education, actually into the workforce. They're able to have their education shortened and they get out there quicker and they make really good income. And there are community colleges for some. There are four-year, liberal arts schools for others. Problem with our four-year liberal arts program, and I won't go into that today because that wasn't the question, they turned into the four-year, six-year program. It takes longer to get educated and it costs a lot more money, and it's hard for our students to find positions that will take care of that. I got the wrap up, so I'm going to just say that we have a great need for technical schools, and basically when you need a plumber, an electrician, or you need a welder, or you need a phlebotomist, and that's when they take your blood. When you get to a certain point in your life, you learn all about that stuff. And, or if you need to get your hair fixed at a cosmetology place, or whatever it is, you need to have those people because they are very important to us. We need to really put more emphasis on the people that are in the trenches. Thank you.
Technical training is great. It's very much needed because I think a higher percentage of South Dakotans are going to go into those type of fields. That, and I'm not degrading the higher education, but the technical education is very important. We don't have an answer for all these questions. I just say the legislature is going to have to prioritize the needs and where it goes. Thank you.
Well, 50% of our state budget, or in excess of that, goes toward education already, and all the other categories have to scramble for the rest of the money. So I think this problem is going to work itself out because business leaders in our state and heads of industrial companies are now partnering with people at the students at the vocational schools. And they're saying, we will cover your tuition if you will come and work for us for 3 years or 4 years. This very thing is happening with one of the guys that I know very well, a graduate of Doland High School. And he has made that commitment, and they have written down that they will uphold their part in it by covering his tuition. So I think this thing is going to sort itself out by the people that need these people to work for them. Thank you.